What is up, watch friends? Welcome to another episode of Talking Timepieces with Tony. I am Tony. This is Paco. And Paco is just being very affectionate today because he just is. He always kind of is. Anyway, let's get him off. No, let's get him off my lap. Anyway, so today's Friday and it's the Q&A. And for those of you who don't know what the Q&A is, we do a Q&A. And if you want to participate in the question and answer, we do it every Friday. And all you have to do is leave your question in the comment section below, and I'll feature it on an upcoming Q&A. So it's pretty simple, and it's a lot of fun. We've been doing it for a long time. I appreciate everyone who likes and subscribes, people that, that's what keeps me going with this. It's not anything monetary or anything like that. It's just literally seeing my channel grow is what helps me, and you guys can help me do that. And then when it doesn't happen, it kind of like, well, why do I do this? But I love watches, that's why. So I'm not going to roll any intro. We have a lot of questions this week, and we're going to start with the first one. Oh, by the way, today I am wearing my Rolex Submariner 14060M 5-digit sub. This one comes from Paul Thompson 9062. Hey Tony, hope all is well. All is good. Hope all is well with you, man. Personally, I'm not too keen on the new Rolex releases. I wasn't either, but I really am starting to like the Land Dweller. Hate the name, but the movement in that watch is freaking sick, man. And the OPs as well. But I think Tudor, it says, anyway, I think Tudor has come out on top again. What do you think of the new white dial Black Bay Pro? Do you think the thickness is an issue for what is made as a rugged tool watch? Well, it's 39 millimeter, right? I mean, might as well just call it the Polar Explorer 2 Tudor, it's a good looking watch, but it's 13.9 millimeters thick at 39 millimeters. And that is pretty thick, man. Considering that the Rolex Explorer 2 Polar is, I think, 12.5 millimeters thick and is 42 millimeters. So you're giving some up here, right? So I don't know. I would have to try it on to see if it would work for me. It just seems like it is a little bit thick. I mean, but it's a good looking watch, So I don't know. I have to wait and try it on, man. But I think it might be a little too thick. It would probably be a little too thick for me. But then again, the Rolex Explorer 2 would be a little too big as far as diameter goes. It's 42 millimeter, right? So it might work. I have to try it on. Thanks for your question, Paul. Next question, Steve J4629. Hey, Tony, question about watches and wonders and the influence of YouTubers now. Teddy, for those of you who don't know, Teddy Baldessari, got the inside scoop on the Rolex Land Dweller. Would like to hear your opinion on the subject. Maybe us watch enthusiasts and guys like yourself with watch channels are changing the game. I know your vids on Watchfinder about holding them to account really blew up. Love your channel, brother. Peace. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. YouTubers are, they're influencers, right? I mean, just in the watch world. And if your channel's really big, people are going to listen to what they have to say. Some watch companies don't give a shit about, YouTubers and what they have to say. But, these are people that are influencers. Teddy, he's got a really big channel. I'm not like a huge fan of his, but, he's got the big channel, and so he's allowed to do certain things that people like me wouldn't be allowed to do, as far as checking out some of like the new Rolex releases. But yeah, I think YouTubers definitely have a bigger say now than they used to. Before it was just little entertainment people with watch channels, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, and I think it depends on the style of your channel as well. Whereas like someone like Teddy, Revolution Watch, and I don't want to compare those two because Revolution Watch with Waco is far superior than Teddy's channel. But they bring you watch news. He's a journalist. Waco is a journalist. Revolution Watch is more of a watch journalism channel, and they bring you news, and so does Teddy. But and then there's the channels that are just goofy and whatever, and you have so yeah, it all just depends on your channel and how big it is, So thanks for your question, man. I appreciate it. Next one comes from Jude Sorry, man. I'm not even going to try. Jude, I appreciate it, man. Cool video, Tony. Very nice lineup. I have the same watch from Breitling, but with a darker blue face. Cool, man. Pepsi will be my pick for Rolex. Question for you. If Rolex decided to add the Coke and not discontinue the Pepsi, what would you pick? And with what bracelet variation and why? Thank you, and I appreciate you as always, man. Thank you, I appreciate you. I mean, the Coke is, I don't know, I'm just not into the sort of the black and red or the blue and red. I think they're nice looking watches. And obviously they didn't bring the Coke back, and they probably never will. Tudor did in their, what was it, the Black Bay, the GMT, was it? No, it was whatever. It was the 58 black. But if it was me, I'd still go with the Pepsi over the Coke. I don't know why. I just do, and I would go with the Jubilee bracelet because I just prefer the Jubilee bracelet over the Oyster bracelet on the GMT Master 2. But I overall prefer the Oyster bracelet, if that makes sense. But I think I would go with the Pepsi. Thanks for your question, man. Michael Saraceno. Hey, dude, what's happening? I have a question for next week's Q&A. Your Cartier Pasha with the blue dial and leather strap looks amazing. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I love that watch. I'm looking for a quality leather quality leather watch band for summer, but want to avoid ruining it during the warmer weather and sweat. Do you have any recommendations for a leather band with a sweat-resistant liner or any good faux leather alternatives? I'm not planning on wearing it for active wear, but have read that leather bands in the summer are not great friends. Yeah, I mean, leather's gonna, sweat and all that stuff. Hey, it'll just make it deteriorate a little more. I don't really go after brands as such. I will say if I want this type of strap, I'll just Google it and look for it. And if it's something I find that I like, I'll buy it. And I just don't remember half of where I buy things from. The only strap companies that are, some companies have given me straps, but I don't, whatever. But WIS straps, WIS, they're just primarily, well, they have NATO straps and rubber straps. And they're a good company. Like for something too, like if you take the Zenith Pilot, it has a couture effect to it. I don't know if you can see that, but for the most part, it looks like couture and people think it's couture, but it's actually rubber. So I would just Google it, man. And any of you guys who have, strap choices and whatever, please comment so Michael can get an idea, right? And I appreciate it, man. Wearing watches, looking fly in the jacket, my man. Oh, thank you, bro. I purchased a Datejust 41 fluted Jubilee back in 23 from an AD. I've been waiting for a second Rolex for my AD for over 2 years, an OP41 or a Submariner. You've been waiting 2 years for that, huh? Should I assume I'm not getting a second watch and move on to another AD? I hate to lose my spend history, but it seems like I should have gotten a call by now. The AD is 2+ hours away from me, so I can't stop by very often. I'm assuming they've just forgotten me. I did try and rekindle a relationship by stopping by last month. Yeah, man, if you live 2 hours away, I mean, obviously the best bet's to go in every so often and check up, you know what I mean? And if you've got a rep there that you deal with, just follow up with them and call them every, a couple of weeks, not a couple of weeks, maybe once a month, and find out, hey man, any word on the sub or the, whatever you're looking for. If they're not responsive to you, I don't know. I would probably look for someone else, but, that's a tough one. I know some people just have the hardest time getting these watches. It's crazy, especially now. It should be a little bit easier to get a Submariner, than a couple of years ago when you couldn't get anything, you know what I mean? It's so, but I wish you the best, man. I would just follow up on the phone and, because if you got another AD and if your closest one's 2 hours away, how far away is the next one? You know what I mean? And then starting a relationship with them is going to, I don't know, man. It seems like a lot of work, but I would follow up via telephone and just keep hanging there, Appreciate your question. Kevin _ G000. Hey, Tony, I have a question for you. I know you like Nomos watches, so I decided to take a look. I found amazing watches at very reasonable prices. What would your one and done be from their current collection? Glad you're feeling better. Thanks. Yeah, Nomos make phenomenal watches, my one and done would be just the Club Campus. I mean, it's not their most expensive line. I should learn to talk today, but it's not their most expensive watch. It has the Alpha movement in it, which is their first ever movement it's all in-house. I just love the aesthetics of that watch, and I love the color dials, of course, and the California dials. If you don't know the California dials, that's half Arabic numerals and half Roman numerals. I do also, but I gave that watch to my girlfriend, so she has the coral cream color one now. That's the one I had. I gave it to her. So I am going to pick up another one eventually, and then now I just have the Tangente the 175 years of watchmaking in Glashütte. I have the lemon biscuit, and I love that watch as well. But I would stick with, if I could only have one, the one and done would be the Club Campus. Thanks for your question, man. Vahan S, what's up, dude? How are you? Hey, Tony, love this video. Thanks, man. Would also choose the Aquanaut. You mentioned that you would pick the GMT for Rolex even though it's not the most comfortable. Question for you. Curious on what exactly is not so comfortable about it. Is it the Jubilee? I heard people say that the Jubilee is not as comfortable as the Oyster. Have a great weekend. Yeah, man. Okay, so when you've had multiple Rolex like me, you know what works for you and what's comfortable, right? So I prefer the Oyster. It just feels more comfortable. So the 36 millimeter OP on Oyster is the most comfortable watch I have. But since I've been wearing sort of smaller watches now, again, this is a 40 millimeter, but the GMT Master 2 is also a 40 millimeter, but it's got a maxi case and of course the Jubilee bracelet. So, like if you're turning your wrist like this or you're moving, you kind of feel that watch and you know it's there. It's a little bit heavier too. So you kind of always know what's on your wrist. I'm not saying it's not uncomfortable, like completely uncomfortable. It is comfortable when you're wearing it, but it depends on what you're doing to where you notice like, okay, it's not as comfortable, right? So, and it also has to do with the size of your wrist too. I got a 6.5 inch wrist, but it still works for me. It's still my favorite Rolex. You know what I mean? I love that watch. So I hope that answered your question, man. Gino816, what up, Gino816? How are you? I'm curious to know your thoughts on the Christopher Ward C1 Celestial Moon Phase collaboration with Mr. Jones watches. I kind of like it, more playful than what I'd typically wear, but I could see myself wearing on a casual, fun day. I don't like it. Sorry, man. No disrespect. I just don't. I think it's kind of stupid looking. It's not, I don't know. I can appreciate artful sort of dials, but if it's done correctly, like when you look at Vacheron Constantin or some of the Patek Philippe, the enamel dialing and all that stuff is just art. This is just kind of it is playful and it's okay. I wouldn't even come close to buying it though. But if you like it, that's all that matters. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Stuntman Johnny, what's up, Stuntman Johnny? Hey, Tony, as always, loving the Q&A. Thanks, bro. Appreciate that. Question, do you purposely wear a certain brand of watch to their boutique? I have an appointment to look at the new Omega Moon Phase soon at the boutique. I was debating if I should wear my Seamaster 300. I didn't want to look obvious walking in with a watch that they have on their display. Perhaps I'm overthinking things, but I don't want to look foolish. Yeah, man. Sure, if I was going to a boutique specific, whether it be Omega, Vacheron, or, whatever, as long as I've got one of those watches, of course, absolutely. It's a sign of respect, and, like if you walk into Omega wearing a Rolex, you can, nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, if you've got a watch specific to the boutique you're walking into, absolutely. It shows a sign of respect, and it shows that you're a fan of the watch and that you own watches from that brand. You'll be more apt to get a watch from that brand or that boutique by doing that. All right, man. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Stephen Esh123. Hey, Tony, I've always been curious as to why more manufacturers don't use micro rotors in their movements. I have heard other YouTubers mention they cost more to build, but I have a hard time rationalizing why that would be. Is it not the same mechanics, but with just a smaller rotor? The micro rotors allow the watch to be slimmer, which I think most brands are likely aiming for. Do you have any insight on why movement with a micro rotor costs more to build? Yeah, because it's not as simple as that, man. When you look at the majority of watches with rotors, let's say Paco, every time. When you look at the rotor, right, it's basically on the pinion of the watch, right? So the pinion goes through the watch, whatever, and it's on the back side of the watch on the pinion. So it's level, right? Micro rotors, you can't just put a micro rotor there, I don't think. There might be companies that do that, but because of oh my God, gravity, so to speak, they need to be placed and they need to be built in properly to where it's actually going to function and work as a rotor to wind that watch. If you just stick it in the center pinion, it's going to be very difficult for it to wind. I'm not making a whole lot of sense, I don't think. But the thing is that you can't just stick a micro rotor in the pinion of the watch. You've got to build a separate little part to where that rotor is going to work and be more efficient for the watch. So that's all I got to say about that. But thanks for your question, man. And if I'm wrong, correct me. But I appreciate your question, man. Neo Clockwork Orange. Hey, Tony, really love the show and your passion for the watches. May I draw on your Rolex expertise to ask a dive watch question? Yes, you may. And I don't really think I have a lot of Rolex expertise. But I appreciate that. 6-digit Submariner date versus a Sea Dweller 43. What do you think will wear better on a 7.5-inch wrist? Cheers and stay well, Tony. All right, man. So 7.5-inch wrist, and you've got two watches that are pretty much very similar to each other, right? I'm going to throw up a picture of a 124060 no date, just because that's the one I have in my phone. You're looking at, what's going to work for you. You know what I mean? It's like I have a 6.5-inch wrist and I'm wearing a 40 millimeter, right? And if you take a 41 millimeter sub on a 7.5-inch wrist, it's going to look really good. You take a Sea Dweller, you're going to still going to look a little bit bulky and bigger, but it depends on what you're looking for. Do you want something bigger, as a bigger presence on your wrist, or something a little bit more low key, that's going to just be classic and classy looking? I think still that the Submariner would work better for you, man. I would try them both on and you make that decision. But if you guys agree with me, leave your comments in the section below, leave your comments and we'll discuss this. Thanks for your question, man. Next one, Nicola 8889. Hi, Tony, man. Looking sharp there. Thanks, bro. That's when I was wearing my jacket, I think, I really enjoy your videos and honest answers to your viewers. It's appreciated on this end. I appreciate that. Yeah, I try to be, that's, some people don't like my honesty. They just want me to jump on that bandwagon like every other person does and goes, yeah, great. Oh, everyone hates the Cubitus. I'm going to hate the Cubitus too. Let's wait and see what this person says before I make my final, because I am not capable of making my own decisions. But that's how I am. Straight up, dude. I've really been taking a liking to Breguet in recent years, and I've been lucky to acquire 2 timepieces. That's awesome, man. I don't know if you're familiar with Breguet, although I'm kind of sure you are. But the quality is exceptional amongst other watch brands, including Rolex. Just wanted your opinion on why this company's such horological history isn't more recognized. Maybe branding, marketing, etc. Thank you. Well, 1775 is when Breguet were founded by Abraham Louis Breguet, who also invented the tourbillon, and countless patents on watches. You were correct, sir. That Breguet make phenomenal watches. The thing is that it's a very specific type of watch. They've stayed true to their past as far as having classical dress watches that are phenomenal. They came out with the Type 20 as well, which is more of a sporty watch. Just didn't catch on. It's marketing, it's getting the right people buying the watches, but at the same time, they have to have a little bit more diversity in their collection. They're beautiful. I love Breguet, but they need a little more than what they're currently producing. And I think they need to break away. I don't say break away and leave behind what they have, because their history is absolutely phenomenal, but they do need to do something else. They need to come out with something that's just, have a little bit of diversity in their collection that they don't have. And like I say, the Type 20, which I really like the Type 20, but it wasn't really all that popular, and I'd still buy a Type 20. In fact, I've come close many times. So, I think they just have some work to do, and that's pretty much it. So thanks for your question, man. I appreciate it. David Parrish Productions. David, as always, how are you? And your family. Say hi to them for me, please. Awesome job with the Q&A, my brother. Hey, question for a future show. Do you in general prefer a watch with some weight to it? Do you consider GMT heavy, or do you like lightweight better? Thanks for being the coolest, David. Thanks, David, man. No, I prefer lighter watches for sure. Heavier watches are definitely going to be more known on your wrist. You're going to know it's there. I'm not one for going, wow, this watch is really heavy. It's got to be fucking really worth whatever it may be. GMT is kind of heavy, but it's not that heavy. I mean, that's also part of the uncomfortable, being uncomfortable. I do like a lighter weight watch. I like to have a watch that I just don't know that's on my wrist unless I look at it. You know what I mean? So appreciate you guys as always. We'll see you on the next one. More Watches and Wonders stuff coming soon.